Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. I'm going to start this video by saying I have never been more unsure about a rankings video ever. In front of me I have the 8 latest palette releases that are available at Sephora, and I'm going to rank them from worst to best. But when I tell you, I have never been more unsure about a rankings video ever, because I truly do like each and every single one of these palettes for different reasons. There isn't a palette in this ranking that I wouldn't recommend. I actually like and recommend them all. It just depends on your makeup preferences and what you're in the mood for, and like the color stories you might like better than others and whatnot. Quality wise, I like all of these, and I have made videos with each and every single one of these palettes in front of me. So if you want to see the full review of the palette, definitely check out those videos. But I guess we gotta rank them, so let's go ahead and go for it. I will have the palettes tagged on the video and in the description box below, so if you're interested in purchasing any of these, please use my links or the tagged video on the screen to purchase it. Whenever you do that, it helps out my channel. The Sephora savings event is going on right now, and so I figured this would be the perfect time to rank the latest Sephora palette releases, in case you guys are wondering which one to get for yourself. And so I'll give you my reasons as to why I placed them where I placed them, and why I'm more excited about some than others, and hopefully that maybe might make you make up your mind about which palette you want to grab for yourself. Do keep in mind that this is a ranking on my level of excitement for these palettes more than anything, right? So number 8, the last place. Very surprised myself that this one ended up there, but again, I do like them all. Oh my god. Anyways, number 8, the Huda Beauty Icy Nude palette. This was one of my last palette reviews here on my channel, and the reason this one ranks last is because this could have been a 9-pan palette. There is a lot of shades in this palette that are not necessarily repeated, but are very close to one another. So I feel like there is a lot of repetitiveness within this palette, and there is not a lot of variety. There's not a lot of diversity of looks that you can create with a color story like this one. So that is the main reason why this one ranks last. But with that said, it is a beautiful palette with incredible formulas. Like the metallic shimmer shades in this palette are incredible. Let me go ahead and swatch a few shades to show you. Take a look right there at all of these frosty shimmers. See, the pigmentation is definitely there. You get a lot of frosty drama in this palette. It's just that a lot of these shades I find look pretty similar to one another, and so for that reason this one has ended up in the 8th spots. But I still like it. However, I'm more excited about the ones that I placed in front of it, so let's keep going. At number 7, I have an actual 9-pan palette, and that is the Sugar palette from Anastasia. I absolutely loved this one. Before I tell you why and I show you some shades, it does remind me a little bit of the Anastasia Cosmos palette right here. I find that the color stories have some similarities. If I had to pick between these two, I would go for the Cosmos palette, by the way, but this is like a smaller version of it. Not as great as the Cosmos palette. I find the Cosmos palette better, but this one is quite fantastic and also more affordable. Anyways, I love this palette because it has beautiful frosty shimmer shades in 3 different colors, which gives this 9-pan palette already more versatility than the Huda Beauty one that I ranked last. It also has a purple. Look at all of the versatility on this one already. It has beautiful nudie shades for the crease, and this stunning burgundy deep brown shade back here that can make your looks really nice and smoky. Personally, not the biggest fan of shades like this one or that one, which are matte shades essentially with some sprinkled glitter in there, but at the end of the day you barely see the glitter. I believe it's put in there so that the matte shade blends better. Anyways, this palette is quite a fabulous little thing, and it's nice and affordable. I believe it's $29. I like it. I like it quite a bit. The reason it's number 7 is because the rest of the ones in front of it are fantastic and they have a lot more shades, and also it's more of a spring summer palette in my opinion, and so the one in front of it is a bit more my fall vibes right now. Anyways, like this one, but it's number 7. At number 6, as you might have guessed, I have the Spice palette from the same collection from Anastasia. Very similar quality-wise to the Sugar palette, and I absolutely love the shimmer shades in this one too. They're quite sparkly. I simply find that in comparison to the Huda Beauty palette I mentioned in number 8, and also the rest of the palettes I'm going to talk about, the Anastasia formula is a bit looser. It's not pressed as hard as the rest, and so I find that the matte shades have a little bit of kick up and you can get a bit of extra fallout with the shimmers. Nothing extremely irksome in my opinion. I can deal with it just fine, but formula wise, I would say between all of the formulas I'm discussing today, this would probably be my least favorite. With that said, I absolutely love the color story of the Spice palette, and even though the formula, like I said, can have a bit more fallout than the rest, it's an extremely easy formula to work with nonetheless. The mattes are soft and they are blendable, and the shimmers, as you saw from my finger swatches, are extremely pigmented. Plus I love the color story and the looks that I've created with this one so far. So this is number 6. It hurts my soul to put the next one at number 5 because I wanted it to be my number 1, okay? But the reason it's my number 5 is because it isn't actually the purple palette of my dreams. I'm of course talking about the new Natasha Denona Roxa palette. It is a beautiful palette with some purple shades, some pink shades, and some warm reds for some reason. I'm quite annoyed about these 2 colors being in this palette. I don't like them. I think the palette, by the way, like anything Natasha Denona ever does, has amazing quality. My favorite formula out of all of the formulas I'm going to be discussing in today's video is the Natasha Denona formula. This would be my number 1 formula. The palettes are just placed where they are because I'm also of course taking the color story into account. Anyways, this palette has some of the best performing purple shades I have ever tried, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Like, those shades are beautiful and they blend like butter and they're easy to melt into the crease of your eye. The shimmers aren't as chunky, glittery as the ones in the Huda palette or the Anastasia palettes that I just showed you, but nonetheless they are very classy, beautiful, shimmer, sparkly shades. Take a look right here. See how they have that micro fine shimmer thing going on, that etherealness to them that I absolutely love. I wish that we had more purple shimmers in this palette. I picked up 3 random shades, but as you can see, all of them are pink. I believe this one here is an actual purple shimmer. Again, I'm not Natasha Denona. I'm not designing these palettes, of course, but I would have done it differently. I do still think it is a fantastic palette in the sense of like the performance of it. And I think she did give us some really nice purples in this one. I don't know, I wanted more. I wanted something different. I still want to do that video where I switch around some shades and see if I can create what I would consider to be an even better purple palette using Natasha shades. We'll see if I can come up with a concept. I don't know if I can do it, but I want to try. Anyways, the palette is lovely. The formulation is fantastic. And as most palettes Natasha Denona releases, I do really like it, but my expectations were even higher than this one. Lastly, the other reason this one falls a little bit further back for me is because since I'm ranking on level of excitement, I usually do get excited about like nudie, everyday eyeshadows a bit more over like colorful palettes, and this one's pretty colorful, so that's the last reason why this one is number 5. I still love you. I still do love you. I do. But competition has been stiff this fall. A lot of really good palettes have come out recently, I must admit. Let's go to number 4, which is the newest Pat McGrath holiday palette. What are you called? the Pat McGrath Mega Eyeshadow Palette in Luminous Legends. And the reason this one is number 4 is because I like the formula. I love the shimmers, the mattes and the shimmers both are fantastic in this palette. Take a look right there. And one thing that gets me very excited about this palette in particular is how versatile I find it to be. Because yes, you only have 3 nude shades, which are going to be mainly what you're using for the crease of your eye. Like these right here are pretty much the crease of the eye, right? And so that's not going to change that much, but you have a lot of different color shimmers to put right in the center that is going to make this palette give you a pretty wide variety of looks, in my opinion. The shimmers are excellent, the formulas are buttery and blendable and soft and just so good in my opinion. I love a versatile, semi-colorful eyeshadow palette with lots of sparkle, and that is exactly what Pat McGrath gave us this year, which is the reason why this one is sitting at number 4. I think it's lovely. At number 3, we have the biggest splurge you're going to see in this video, and that is the Danessa Myricks palette. Lightworks Volume 6. This is what I'm wearing on my eyes right now. I combined it with a couple of matte shades from the next palette I'll talk about, but I am wearing that shimmer on the eyelid and this one on the inner corner. I absolutely love it. This palette has great shimmer shades, fantastic formulas in my opinion, that are colorful and they are not too chunky and they're beautiful and versatile. And I love it because when combining it with just a couple of neutral matte shades, you can create so many different eyeshadow looks with this one. I love that the shimmers are not chunky, they're a bit more ethereal, some of them feel very creamy. And of course, the genius of the packaging of this palette also gives it extra points for excitement. I just love that I can grab this mirror that comes on the top of the palette and take all of the little 6-pan palettes with me on the go, and that this big palette narrows down to this little brick of amazingness right here. The packaging is definitely, again, giving it extra points when it comes to my excitement about this palette because I find the travel friendliness of this one to be quite genius. The only thing that would make this palette even better in my opinion would be for her to come out with a 6-pan palette that had like some matte shades, or like different 6-pan palettes that had some matte shades and you could like combine. That would be amazing. Or like grow your stack. Ooh, Danessa. If anyone from Danessa's team is watching, I want more in this format. In this packaging, we need more. We need some mattes so we can create the palettes of our dreams with your single shadows in this format. I am loving the packaging, and of course the formulations and pigmentation of these eyeshadows is amazing as well. So this is number 3. At number 2, the other palette I'm wearing on my eyes today, I just grabbed a couple of matte shades from this one, and that is the I Need a Warm palette from Natasha Denona. As I said, the Natasha Denona formula is my favorite out of all of the formulas that I'm talking about in today's video, and this palette I like a lot because of the color story of it. I love a simple bronzy palette like this one that you can create some natural, neutral looking eyeshadow looks with. I did a 5 looks 1 palette with this one if you guys are interested on like the looks that I've created. When it comes to Natasha, I really like the shimmer shades that she's been putting into these palettes because they're like not too much, not too like over the top metallic, but they still have a really nice amount of sparkle to them. They're not as plain as they used to be. I love that she has been getting into creating some colors that have multi-chromes in them. And to be 100% honest with you, I love how basic this palette is because I am very basic at heart. And I love the simplicity of the eyeshadow looks that you can create with this one and how they will literally be perfect for any occasion. Pretty much anything you want to do in life, unless it requires colorful eyeshadow for some reason, you can do with a palette like this one. This could be an everyday work palette, it could be your brunch palette, your date night palette, your night out palette, your luncheon palette, your festival palette. Like, you could do anything you want with these shades, and so I love that about it, and it makes me excited to have it. So this right here is palette number 2, and I highly recommend this one. And then my number 1 palette recommendation of the season is the new palette from Makeup by Mario. I love this little palette so much. I love the ethereal shimmers he put in here. I love the cool tone shades. I love the neutral shades. I love everything about this one. This is another one where like you could do anything with this palette too. This one also will work for any occasion, just like the Natasha one I just showed you. In fact, this one is even more versatile than the Natasha one I just showed you, because it doesn't only have cool tone shades, it has like one blue shade to give things a bit more character. It has some cool tone shades and a couple of neutrals, so you can create a variety of looks with different undertones with this palette alone. The matte shades in this one are incredible, to be honest with you. I think this palette has the blackest black I have ever had in any palette ever, and the shades blend like absolute butter. They are so easy to blend. I love the navy blue too, and it's such a good formula as well. All of these matte shades blend super seamlessly. I'm just going to blend them down a bit. All of these colors blend super seamlessly onto the crease. They are not too powdery, not too soft. You're not going to experience kick up with these or anything like that. I barely had any fallout when it came to this palette, and it wasn't the mattes at all. I think it was like the ethereal shimmers a little bit. I love the matte formulation that Mario put in his ethereal palette. Is 10 out of 10. It is fantastic. You have a couple of shades you can use on the crease, and then mid-tone shades to darken up things with, and then the 2 darkest matte shades right here to really create fantastic, deep, dark, sultry, smoky eyes. And we haven't even gotten to the ethereal shimmers yet. These shimmers are just so freaking beautiful. Take a look right here at how sparkly the shimmers are. You can build them up if you need to build them up in order for them to have a bit more of a dense color, or you can very lightly just pat them or swipe them over the eyelid area for the most ethereal, barely there, glimmering eyeshadow look. I truly think everything about this palette is pure perfection. It is versatile, the formulas are magnificent, and this one is going to look amazing on everyone pretty much. It's a fantastic palette. I absolutely love it, and that is the reason why this one is my number 1 most favorite palette that has released at Sephora this fall. With that said, I do want to remind you it is limited edition as well, and Mario's ethereal palettes in the past have always sold out, so if you want it, make sure to get it now that the Sephora sale is going on, because it's going to be the best time to grab it. And I don't know that they get discounted further than what you can get on the Sephora sale, because again, they have sold out every time he's released palettes like this one in the past, so this is not going to end up being super discounted. At least I don't think it will. Maybe, but I don't think so. Anyways, grab this one if you are interested, and if I've convinced you that it is the best one to have from Sephora right now, because I truly believe so. If you guys liked today's video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up. Before you leave, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not already. If you're shopping for any of the palettes I just mentioned, please do so using the products tagged on the screen or the links down below in the description box. I love you all so much. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you back in the next one. Bye.